Back on, Gertie Rude, back again, the Thursday mood. Here we are, it's Thursday, day before Friday, and I say, one and all, thanks be to all the gods. Weather's a bit crap where I am, if you're in the UK. I think it's a bit crap everywhere in the UK at the moment. The King is furious. Is he furious about the weather? I don't know. Do you know? Should we jump in and find out what's happening?
Welcome back. I'm still with Barrister Stephen
Hello.
Barrett. Stephen,
I like him.
well, let's talk about generally the protests.
Yes.
What do they call it? The Stop Trump Coalition.
Oh, yes, that was awkward.
So they had some kind of demo this morning.
Wasn't it led by the bird that was some government official that was actually deployed to welcome him off the Air Force One presidential plane thingy bob going on there? Yes, that's happening. Apparently it is. But in her sort of moonlighting hours, she's a nut job.
In central London.
There you go.
Last night, quite impressive, really.
In my opinion,
somebody
allegedly
beamed onto the walls of Windsor Castle.
Yes, that's awkward. That was an awkward, wasn't it? Do you get me, capiche? That was slightly awkward. Well, it wasn't even slightly. It was very, very, not covertly. It was overtly awkward. I've seen the list back in the day. I can't remember where I saw it. It was on something or other. I was Googling around, having a look at the... Do you remember when it all broke with the shit's name, whatever his name is? Lolita Express and all that gubbins. And there were some other interesting names on there, darling. And I'd say one of the least interesting was probably Mr. Dump. Yes, personally, that's my opinion. But there were some very... let's say interesting names on that list. But anyway, Mr. Dump was on it, so let's just go with that.
So, of course, Donald Trump with Jeffrey
Dump.
Epstein, his old pal. They also, at one point...
Well, he's on record as saying that he wasn't into young women. Not underage. He liked women. He liked the prestige of having the most gorgeous woman on his arm. A woman, not a child or a girl. So there's that. Anyway, yeah, he was on the list, but there was a lot of other people on the list. I mean, I quite like breathing, and if I did say who else was on the list, I'd probably have to avoid tunnels for the rest of my life. Anyway, there you go. But there was a lot of people on that list. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people on the list. A lot of them nobody's heard of. But some of them, everybody's heard of.
Furled this huge banner the size of a football pitch all
God.
over that long thoroughfare walkway that goes up to the gates of
they get into that Handmaid's Tale, don't they? They get all handmaidy-taily about it. I've seen some right old broads, sort of that look quite a bit like me, if you get me, going on about not wanting to be outraged by Mr. Dump. And I keep looking at them thinking, you've literally got less than no chance ever, and are very, very safe around Mr. Dump, darling. Somebody give that girl a mirror. Anyway.
So, as we always knew,
yes,
thanks to Keir Starmer's incompetence, his hopelessness over Peter Mandelson, that this state visit, was going to be all about...
But he was on the list as well, wasn't he? And he doesn't even, do you know what I mean, with girls at all, ever, like, never in the history of his life. Wasn't he Lord Beaverbrook's nephew? Obviously nephew, Gert, come on, wake up. It's because it's Thursday, I'm dopey, I'm half asleep now. I'm knackered. So, yes, was he? I think he was Lord Beaverbrook's, or something, or the other one. Is it the other one? I can't think of his name either. Anyway, he's got there, he's a Nepo baby. So, but in his day, if you remember when he was the Dominic Cummings of the Tony Blair administration, 1997 onwards, didn't he circumvent some passport issues to bring his friend, in air quotes, young male friend, in air quotes, from Brazil? Pretty sure I remember that. Anyway, so that was that, but he was on the Epstein list. But you can rest assured that he wasn't on the list for the reasons that everybody else was on the list. He was probably... Because Epstein wasn't only doing that. He was getting people wherever their weakness was. Do you get me? And not every man's weakness is necessarily what we're given to believe. A lot might have gambling issues. Do you know what I mean? Might have shopping issues. Might have all sorts of issues that Epstein would play into to rope them in. And then once they're in there, do you know what I mean? He can do what he wants with them. Yes, he was going to take over the world. Well, at least Lolita Island. I think he was going to make it the epicenter of the world. Was it? No, it's St James, Little St James. Yeah.
Donald Trump,
very little,
Peter Mandelson, and their mutual friend Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
The King, we understand, is furious about this. He's furious that he's been put in this embarrassing position. But it started last night, and it's clearly going to go on on throughout the visit until it ends tomorrow night, I believe. But first of all, let's talk about...
her sort of private personal beliefs aren't conducive to the role that she's obviously professionally being paid for. Probably we're paying for her as well, do you get me? Because she's like a government civil person. I mean, they sent her to get him off the plane, basically. So, and then at night she was doing this. Allegedly. I mean, I'm only going what I've seen on YouTube.
Might not be true. The mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, who likes to sort of style himself as an old enemy of Donald Trump. I mean, This guy is the pipsqueak mayor of London. Donald Trump is the most powerful human being on the face of the earth. I don't think he worries too much about Sadiq Khan's criticisms. But he's written an article...
Well, you see, Khan is working on the template that... Boris was a very successful mayor of London, allegedly, and apparently, I don't know, I don't live in London, so literally don't care. But apparently he was, and it was the natural stepping stone that he then became Prime Minister. So this is what I've seen with Sadiq Khan all along. He is so supercilious, arrogant. Something of the night about that man. But anyway... He is what he is, and it's nothing to do with anything other than his personality. But, here's the but, and everybody's got a but. During the lockdown, I think it was in the first 2 to 3 weeks of the lockdown, Mr. Sadiq Khan did come out. He did come out. He needed some attention, basically, because, the country was locked down and he wasn't getting any attention. And he did put out a press release saying that he was feeling very poorly because he had actually suffered from bipolar all of his life, and the lockdown was playing with, obviously, because he was getting no narcissistic, do you know what I mean, supply. I don't know whether that's a byproduct of bipolar, but anyway, he said he had bipolar. So that's worth thinking about, and I think, didn't he win an election just after that to become mayor yet again? I don't think he mentioned that on the ballot paper. No, not that anybody should be discriminated against because of their mental ill health, but what I'm saying is that if in fact this is the situation, the status quo for you, maybe you should let it be known, darlings. You should let it be known, because you are going to be, in effect, a public servant. It's a bit like, now this is another thing as well, 1997. When we'd had Thatcher in from 79 and then John Major, and it was a turning tide, and we were all whipped up for the boy Blair. I mean, I wasn't, do you know what I mean? I don't care. And none of us were treated to the fact that he had several convictions for living in a cottage or being in a cottage at some point, something to do with cottage, something to do with the thatched roof, and I think it might have involved bone china and maybe scones. There you go. So, was that and is that still on the statute books as being something of an illegal enterprise? But anyway, two you see convictions for that. Never told anybody. No. So everybody made their decision without knowing the full facts. And that is the way of the world. Usually. I mean, a lot of the time, you know that you've got no yardstick like a conviction to judge, have you? Maybe they get away with it. And if he had got a couple of convictions for living in a cottage, just say, nobody gets done for the first or second time they do something, do they? No, they usually get away with it for a very long time before they get bubbled up. I don't know Well, actually, I do know. I'm pretending I don't know, but I do know the details. But I'm too polite to say, you see. So we've moved forward, and we're all crashing ahead with digital ID, which old Blair's got he's got his, what would you call it? His little paws in there. Yeah, because he's been banging on about digital ID forever.
For The Guardian, where else?
Right.
In which he just uses this term, far right. He's absolutely obsessed with it.
I know.
He put out something like a 5-paragraph.
Wasn't it Goebbels that said a lie repeated often enough becomes the truth? Which is sort of Machiavellian. I'm sure he said it as well, didn't he? What was his name? Was it? Can't think what his name was. Otto? Don't know. Whatever his name was, Machiavelli. Nikolai. Yeah? So, is that a fact, you see? Or it obviously is a fact, Gert. Shut up. If they keep saying far right. But you see, the other side, say the more conservative, and conservative means an unchanged position, to stay on course and to keep everything sort of moving forward whilst retaining the template of conservatism. So, and they don't never go far left. And sometimes it takes one to know one. And so maybe people need to ram home the far left thing. I mean, I don't bloody care. I used to be a liberal. Well, a liberal in my day was like a left-wing conservative and a right-wing socialist. So you were in the middle, like David Steele, that sort of thing. And then I gave that up, obviously, because I grew up.
Statement yesterday or the day before about the march on London, the Unite the Kingdom
right,
march
that happened.
On Saturday,
that
which he
good.
said he used in 4 or 5 paragraphs. He used the term far right 5 times.
Yeah, well, he would.
It's like an obsession
he would.
for him. So in his Guardian article, not very well written by the way, you won't be surprised to hear, cliche written to say the least, he accused Donald Trump of policies, particularly in terms of his clamp down on cities,
right,
on lawlessness in cities. He's done it in LA, he's done it in Washington.
Well, that's a good idea,
and also,
isn't it?
of course, the deportation.
At what point was that a bad idea? Have I missed something? Anyway, let's go.
Migrants, the rounding
oh,
up
it's
of
because Dump did it.
He accused Trump of policies, and I quote, straight out of the autocrat's playbook.
Right.
But he went on to say in this Guardian article that the president...
As opposed to him, where you've only got to go on TikTok and any other social medias, you see people... Honestly, London is out of control. London is out of control. There you go. I've said it. I don't want to say any more than that. I wouldn't go to London if I was paid. Do you know what I mean? It's lawless. It's like the Badlands up there, you know. You're lucky to get out with your life. Yes. And don't wear a watch, even if it is only £1 from Poundland. They have it. They don't care.
Has perhaps done the most to fan the flames of divisive far-right politics around the world in recent years. Do you know that character? I don't know if the audience are aware of him. You know that kind of joke character in Private Eye, Dave Spart, the sort of caricature left-wing activist.
Yeah.
That's what Sadiq Khan's like. Can you explain to me why it is? He just got a pay rise.
No. He's not. He is not a left-wing activist. He's like the was it the black rats with the little fleas on the back that spread the plague? It wasn't the rats? It was the fleas on the backs of the rats that spread the plague. And he's that. He's aphiding because the theologically, the theocracy of his religion is the antithesis of anything that the left believes. So they literally are my enemy's enemy is my friend, and they're obviously aphiding on. I'm talking about this because not everybody that's of that religion is political. A lot of them just want to get by and get through the day like the rest of us. But the ones with power, the nefarious ones, not everybody with power is of that religion is doing this. But the ones that are is like Sadiq Khan. And so my enemy's enemy is my friend, and they aphid onto the left because they can use the left to marginalise and extinguish the voices, or even worse than extinguish the voices of, say, their opponents, which in this scenario would be anybody left to centre, right to centre, right of centre. So, and they've got to be destroyed, they've got to be by any means necessary. But cometh the hour, cometh the day, cometh the man. If that scenario ever did play out, let's hope it doesn't, but if it did, the next people on the list would be all the left people, you see, because they are polar opposite of what the fundamentalists believe of that particular faith. There you go. Are they Buddhists? I don't know. They might be. It's hard to tell, isn't it?
This little guy, this poisonous little man.
Oh, is he? Has he done that?
Up to £170,000 a year, another 5,000 quid a year. He got that pay rise. That makes him the highest paid politician in this country. Right. He's now earning about £3,000 a year more than the Prime Minister. Why is that?
I don't know.
Why is this guy, this little guy, who writes cliches about far-right and divisive nonsense in The Guardian, why is he the highest paid politician in this country?
Because he's a little snake, and he's a wheeler and dealer, and he's a networker, and he is who he is. And you've only got to see him interact with the public. He's so supercilious. I think they actually invented that word to describe Mr. Khan, because there literally is no need or no reason to be so arrogant and, I'm going to repeat the word, supercilious and pompous around everyday people that pay your wages, the taxpayers of London. Obviously not me. Do you get me? He's a public servant. He needs to remember that sometimes. I think he's been voted in as king, according to him.
Go on. Building a legal system that's so complicated that we can't actually deal with being invaded by small boats every day.
Right.
We have built a legal system where power is vested in not just in Parliament, but now in all sorts of other places.
Right.
And as a devolved power, he has the ability to do all of these things.
Yeah.
And, it was probably thought that wanting to win an election might curb his excess. But now that he feels extremely cocky, he's just excess. On the point about far right, I'd like to highlight this for your listeners. It's very crucial. So when I talk about the countries on the continent falling to different types of authoritarianism, different types of dictatorship, different flavours, if you like. Okay, so Italy fell to what we call corporate socialism, which is the hand-in-glove relationship between the dictator, the state, and large corporates. Yeah. And Russia fell to international socialism, and the international socialists survived the war, so they're very important. They're Marxists, what you know as Marxists. Yeah, Hitler with Nazism is different. He's quite similar to Mussolini and fascism, but he's a national socialist, so he uses nationalism much more. Now, if you've ever met any socialist, they will immediately tell you that X, who is also a socialist, is not a real socialist like them. They fall out like anybody's business.
They hate each other, don't they?
They hate each other. And actually, that was key to us winning the wars. It was rather good that Hitler had started.
I don't know if you've ever met these wet people, but I have in my long life. And that is true. They're always like, oh, they're not real. They're plastic. They're not really. You got to be a veganarian, sort of one-legged. I can't say on here because I'll get into trouble. Anyway, let's move.
Fell out. We got pluses from that, but they fell out massively. The international socialists absolutely loathe the national socialists, and they are the ones who keep calling the national socialists far right. They are so angry at them still that they need them to exist. I mean, these people don't exist, right? They're gone. Even the few, Nazis that survived the war and fled to wherever are gone. They're old now. They're gone. And neither you nor I nor anybody in our fair island is far right or a Nazi in any way. I mean, maybe there might be one up in the Highlands if we desperately scoured for him or her. But this is just not a thing.
On a serious note, there's a big problem here.
As I say, a lie repeated enough becomes the truth. So that's why they keep pounding, oh, far right, far right, far right. Oh, Missy's just made an appearance. Hello, darling. I wonder where she was, She's a dirty stop out.
But plays into the Charlie Kirk tragedy last week. It is that people like Sadiq Khan, these pious, sanctimonious narcissists on the left. You know, our politics are the politics of love. You on the right, that's the politics of hate. What a load of claptrap. However, there is a problem that people like Sadiq Khan, if you're a conservative, a centrist, if you like,
yes.
I would consider myself, for example, to be right of centre, not much more than that. I'm pretty liberal about a lot of social issues. Some people might say I'm a bit left-wing. But I would consider myself to be, not that many people, I would consider myself to be
left of the right and right of the left.
Because I'm right of centre, Sadiq Khan has only got one term for me. Far right.
Yep.
There's no such thing in the
everybody's far right
of people like Sadiq Khan as someone who is right.
Even though the fundamentalists of that particular religion are about as far right, if that religion was politics, they would be. Have you looked? Have you seen what's going on around the world with that religion, particularly? Do you know what I mean? Are they Buddhists? I'm not sure. I can't remember. Yeah, the things they do, that woman in Somalia. Yeah, they are right. I mean, they'd make that little German fella blush. They would.
Someone who is right of centre. Everyone who is right of centre is far right. Now, there's a comical element to that. It's ridiculous. He just deals in cliches. He cannot see the complexity of the human condition, if you like. But so you can pour contempt on that, which I unreservedly do. But I think
contempt begets contempt. Because if you see any interactions, even at the mayor thingy, when they have the forum, when all the other councillors can ask the mayor questions, he is so pompous, so arrogant, so supercilious, so, dare I say, up himself. It's unbelievable to see that in a public servant, in a democracy. It begets itself, doesn't it, if you know what I mean? Arrogance begets arrogance, superciliousness begets superciliousness, and you get nowhere fast, and that's why you've got a crashing crime wave in London. I mean, I don't know how anybody would go up there and, voluntarily, but there you go.
Happened to Charlie Kirk. If you're going to demonise everyone who isn't left-wing as some kind of far-right extremist, it promotes an atmosphere that leads to violence and assassination. So it would be nice, he won't do it, but it would be nice if Sadiq Khan and people like him dialed back on this rhetoric.
Well, no,
yes,
they won't.
I had to watch, as many people watched, a young dad bleed out on a stage because a demented killer got lucky with a carotid artery hit, or whatever it was. I'm not a doctor, but...
My God, that was one shot, wasn't it? That was a one-shot job. Unbelievable. I expect you've all obviously seen that, the Charlie Kirk assassination. It's just horrendous. I mean, it put Lee Harvey Oswald in the shade, didn't it, really? Or who, obviously it wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. Do you get me? But whoever did what they did in 63 November, put him in the shade. I mean, one shot and it was all over. He reminded me of somebody that might have worked maybe as a marksman. Do you know what I mean? But then I thought about that, and it's easy to get conspiratorial. But in America, it's like a hobby, innit? They all go down the shooting alley and shoot guns. So he might have just been a remarkable shot. We don't know, do we? We're going to find out eventually.
Cartilage artery, Apparently with the cartilage artery, we found out, I was on air when it happened. A very dramatic night. But we found out that if you get hit in the cartilage artery, it is literally the worst place to be hit. Yeah. You have less than a minute to stem the bleeding or you're gone.
Yeah.
Bless him. And we have there's a little 3-year-old girl now on the planet who's asking where her daddy is.
And a little boy. He's got 2 kids.
Yeah.
And a little boy. And this is unbelievable stuff.
And the little girl was in the front with his wife and saw it happen and went running forward, "Daddy, Daddy." So the innocent children, terrible. It's absolutely awful.
Was caused by this type of rhetoric. They've gone on it for years about dog whistles and dangerous rhetoric. Well, they've been the ones spewing the dangerous rhetoric. Yeah. Sadiq Khan should withdraw this article and he should apologise for the rhetoric in it. I strongly suspect it's come out so that he can distract us with this, because he's under investigation and under questioning about the grooming gang scandals rape gang scandals in London. So it's very convenient for him to suddenly have a spat with Trump and cause a lot of distraction and noise. Yeah. But we need to stop. We need to go back to being all well. I mean, I've got friends who are very left wing. I don't attack them. I don't I don't criticise them. I don't try to create an environment in which they are.
You just respect other people's opinions, don't you? Most people, when they meet up, don't really talk about politics anyway. So
that's not what you do. We all go down the pub together. We need to go back to this world where being right wing and centre right is not something. If you think that those people are wrong, like Charlie,
it's not a death sentence. In other words, that would be nice.
Kirk debate them, but this poison, this toxicity that they have created, they've given the funniest thing ever is they've given me this language because they're the ones who've done it all.
But they're the be kind, aren't they? And love, peace and pus and all that. Do you know what I mean? I like to teach the world to sing, unless you say something I don't like. Yeah, I mean,
I don't mind calling Sadiq Khan. I call him a pipsqueak, poisonous little man. I think you can't exonerate the right to call the left names as well.
He's annoying, and I don't see him as a very credible servant of the people, which is what he is. I know he thinks he's God of the walk, cock of the walk, doesn't he? But essentially, he's there to carry out the will of the electorate in a democracy. But to dear Sadiq, it's just gone to his head, hasn't it? I mean, he's tiny. I'm taller than him, and I'm short.
And the hurly-burly of politics, I think you should be able to, hurl a few comedy insults and so on and so forth. Yeah. But there's something about the way the left attacks the right. As I say, it's based on their worldview, their ludicrous ethos. That because they're left-wing, they're saintly.
No,
they're wonderful people. They are the people of love.
Well, considering that annoying little German chap and his crew are all socialists and on the left. Saintly? No. So was Pol Pot. I mean, he was radicalised at the Sorbonne, don't you know? Do you know? Yes, he was a left-wing Marxist. But, saintly? No.
And because we are right-wing, we're the people of hate. To be right-wing is to be full of hate. And that is what it would be nice to cure people like Sadiq Khan of. But
and I'll just flag, Kevin, that both the Anglican Church and the Catholic Church got themselves into a lot of trouble about what happened and abuse of young children because they both thought that they were too good and too saintly to do anything wrong. And when humans think that they're too good and too saintly, they start doing nasty things.
Yeah. Bullshit. I think they've been doing it for centuries. They've been covering it up for centuries, but it's this latest zeitgeist that we're in from the 90s onwards where people aren't having it anymore. Are they? They're not having it. Everybody can talk about it nowadays, and so all the safeguarding's been put, and they have to adhere, like everybody else, to safeguarding measures to do with children, which I personally think is brilliant. It's less than we need, but it's better than nothing.
And that's why Sadiq Khan goes to town whenever someone like Donald Trump turns up in Britain, because what he's actually doing is
it's horrible.
He's sort of saying he's hateful, he's vile, but look at me, I'm just polishing my halo. I'm so
Yeah, but I mean, look at Transport for London, the way they're going under and everything, because of course there was a lot of money that went askew. Is that a word? Askew? Vanished, in other words. Yes. But let's not talk about that. Do you get me, Capiche? Don't say anything.
It's not actually about Trump. It's about Sadiq Khan loving himself.
Yeah, that's what a lot of
left wingers are like.
Because he's a bleeding nut job. Not because he's got bipolar, but because he's got narcissistic personality disorder, ratched up to factum plus 10. Anyway, I've had enough. You've had enough, and it is what it is. So stuff's happening, and it's still probably, once I finish this video, going to continue to happen. Wherever you are in the world, have a great evening. Bye bye.